get this party started. I got the music playing loud. How you like my outfit? I have to say I'm kinda proud. I got my dancing shoes on, and I'm feeling dangerous. Let's get this party started. Yeah, we gon' be adventurous. We went to the club like we always do. This girl caught my eye, said, how do you do? She said, I am not interested, thank you. Then she left the room. Bartender, I'll have the usual. Give me the usual. I'll take the usual. I'll have the usual. Give me the usual. Another usual.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, and it is finally time for the pantry reveal. I organized my pantry about a month ago, right before Christmas, and I actually didn't notice how dysfunctional it is until looking back at it now. At this point in the 5.5 years that we have been living in this house, I have only organized this pantry once, and that was because of a totally disgusting, gross reason, and I'll get into that story a little bit later. But other than that, this pantry has never been organized, as you can tell. This is not a pantry remakeover or reorganization. This is me organizing my pantry for the very first time. And I promise I'm not a hoarder like most of us aren't. It's just that things get carried away and they become not important. And then you don't really realize how dysfunctional it is until you step back and see how dysfunctional it was. My name is Michelle, and my channel is on cleaning and organizing content and motivation in all aspects of your life. And if you are new here, then please leave me a comment below. I love welcoming each and every single one of you who are new to my channel, or if you've been here before. So let's get started. So planning this project, when I first thought about reorganizing my pantry, I had no idea where to start. Sometimes watching someone else do something can make it seem a lot easier than it is, but when you're getting into your own space, then you kind of just draw a blank and don't know where to start. I started off with the same issue, and here are some of my tips that I started planning before actually getting started. The first place I started was kind of picking a theme that I wanted for my pantry. If you go on Pinterest or watch other videos, you can get lots of ideas, and then maybe it starts becoming overwhelming because you'll see some with wicker baskets, wired baskets, clear containers, different types of dividers, clear turntables, white turntables, acrylic turntables, glass jars, seal type bins, and you get what I'm saying. So what I first started with was picking a theme. For example, if I were to use the wood wicker baskets, then I would probably try and coordinate the whole pantry with like a wood or wicker theme. If I wanted to use black wired baskets to store some of the breads and stuff, then I might look for containers that have black tops to kind of match it together. But what I ultimately ended up doing was going with anything that was white. I guess to keep it a little more modern looking, so I went to IKEA and got white baskets. I'm using clear containers, and any type of top or lids that I was going to plan on using, I was going to make sure that those were also white or clear. Since on the home edit, if you ever notice, they take everything out of the pantry, see what they're going to use, go to the store, buy a bunch of stuff, and come back. I didn't have enough time to do that, so I tried to get a good amount of inventory taken before I went to the store. So if I ended up buying extras or less, I would just adjust later on. The first thing I started with was baking. I looked at all of the different types of baking things that I needed, like the brown sugar, the flour, the oat, and just wrote down the number of containers I would need for my top items in there. The next thing I took inventory of was cereals and pastas. So we do like to eat cereal, and I limited it down to, I think, 4 cereal containers and 1 pasta container. The next thing that I had way too many of and was a pain point in the pantry was our canned goods. I knew I needed some can shelves, and I knew that one rack held about 9 to 12 cans, so I just started off with 2 and wrote that down. I followed this process just writing down the number of containers I would think I would need for snack bins, for bread and chips, and for turntables. Another thing to keep in mind when planning, despite looking at my disaster kitchen right there, you may think that you need 85 baking containers, because just look at my kitchen for an example, the amount of food that I had. But I would suggest going for less, because you can always purchase more containers and might be surprised on the amount of food that you actually get rid of.
I'm staring through your window, looking up at the stars, up at the stars.
Also, you can see here that you can utilize other spaces to put things in your pantry, especially if you have a really small pantry. You can move stuff around. I'm using my drawers to store our Ziploc bags, foils, parchment paper, baking stuff, because in the corner of our pantry, I would never know when we ran out of plastic bags or Ziploc bags, and this way I can actually see it, and it's so much more easier to get to.
That's how much I want it, that's how bad I need it.
Next, I'll show you the affordable products that we ended up picking out. These are some of the products I got. Everything in this box is from IKEA. So these are just plastic bins. I think they're about $5 or $6 each. And then these are all glass containers that I'm gonna put like flour, brown sugar, anything for baking. I actually got these lids separately, so these have the seal on them, so you can change up the different lids for it, but since these have a seal, that's what I got to go with these. These bigger containers, I'm gonna see how I'm gonna use them. I'll probably put these in the bottom of the pantry and store some back stock or extra things that I have. From Amazon, I got all of these bins. So they come in a different variety of sizes, and I'm going to put some of the girls' snacks in here, because not only do I have their stuff also stored in this cabinet too. So my plan is to move some of their snacks from this cabinet back to the pantry. So I also got from Amazon Lazy Susan turntables. So I plan on using those, and then because I have a lot of snacks and like protein stuff, then I got some of these. These are great for like granola bars or any kind of bars like that, because they come in divided sections. So I have a pack of 4 of those. I have your standard trays. So these are M Design. I also have the iDesign ones, and then I have off-brand ones from Amazon. So I'm going to load up the pantry and see what all the containers look like. One more thing I forgot to mention, I got these racks from Walmart. So everything in the pantry is going to either be clear or white. So these racks are for the cans, since I have like a million canned goods. And I also got an additional turntable.
Let me tell you this, let me tell you right now, your exquisite kiss still burning. Didn't know I missed this passion in life. Now I'm addicted somehow. Let me tell you what is up with your smile. It's impossible, not melting, irresistible. When I look through your eyes, not even.
Considering the amount of food I had at the time, I didn't know that this was actually more than enough product that I needed. Another tip when organizing is to think about only filling about 80% of the space and leaving 20% of the space open. I also promised you guys a story about the one time that we had to clear out our pantry. And the really disgusting story is that one day I went in the pantry and I saw this little like worm kind of bug crawling on the pantry. And I looked and I was just like, that's gross, there's a bug in here. And I kind of cleaned it off. And then the next day I went in and I saw two more. They were like little caterpillar bugs crawling on the wall. And I was like, that's disgusting. We have a monthly exterminator come out, and I even had him come and look at them. And he goes, oh, those little worms, those aren't going to hurt anything. Just, kill them and wipe them down. So I tried not to worry too much. And then the next day or the next couple of days, I would go in the pantry and I would see like they had started creating these cocoons. And by that time I was like, okay, what the heck is this? Where are they coming from? And what in the world are they? Then one day I went in the pantry and saw 3 moths flying around. And I was totally disgusted. And they were pantry moths laying eggs in the food in our pantry and turning into these little caterpillar worms, building cocoons and hatching and flying around our pantry. And some of them were even in our house. And at the time, my husband worked nights and I didn't want to go home. And it's not like they can hurt you. It's just the fact that they're just gross. So in that case, we finally found where most of them were. So they hide in like wheat or bread or anything like that. They were in an old cereal box. So we had to clean out the entire pantry. A lot of the stuff we placed in bags. So it says to place them in bags. And then if one of them hatches or comes out, then you'll see the moth in the bag. So if you notice here, I have some of the stuff placed in bags. Why I didn't just throw this out like expired a long time ago, I don't know. I was probably just so disgusted and wasn't even thinking. I've obviously haven't touched it since that happened, but I did read that a lot of times they will lay eggs at the grocery store in some of these foods like the oats or the breads or the cereals, and then you bring them home and you don't know that maybe that batch had them. So I just remember going to a grocery store one time and I saw one of those pantry moths flying around and I was like, oh no, I am getting out of here. I am not going through that again. I think it took a few months to actually get it to where I had not seen any moths, but that was just a super gross experience. So just forewarning you in case you ever see any little critters hatching cocoons in your pantry.
Every night with you, you and me so clueless. We were just broken, shattered, singing along to nothing.
So when I took everything out of the pantry, I sorted it and categorized it on my kitchen counter, and I then went in and organized all of the bins in the pantry. And now I'm going back throwing away all of the expired food and now categorizing everything into the bins.
We were in too deep.
Another thing I wanted to share is that a pain point in my life right now is just not having enough time. Taking risks, being a mom, you can't create any new time, but you can make use of the time that you have. I had to sit back and really think about what were some of the simple things that were taking so much of my time. And one thing was just being able to find things. I never really thought about organizing as a time saver. It actually made me more stressed out thinking about a project like that. But after watching a few videos just like this, I got inspired to do our own. And what I thought would just be a pretty pantry with just some cute labeled bins ended up saving me a lot of time that I could spend with my girls, saving me money that I didn't have to buy things that I already had in my pantry and just didn't know. It also got me looking at a lot of the things I was buying and how my pantry was turning into a bunch of processed food. So getting rid of a ton of stuff just made me feel more free and like I had so much more free use of my time. And just some of those simple things in life that were stressing me out were really helping make my life more manageable. And hopefully it can help you too.
I wish you'd stay, but there you go. I have so much I wanna say to you, much I wanna say, but there's no time. We used it all. Still have so much I wanna talk about, but I messed it up and there you go. Oh, 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 oh. There you go, walking out that door. It felt so close, oh, 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 so close.
Another thing I wanted to point out, that if your pantry was as bad as mine, make sure that you dedicate a lot more time than expected. I started this project in the morning and thought that it would take me just a couple of hours, and I think at this time, with a couple breaks, it ended up taking me a good 5 to 6 hours. I have gotten rid of 50%, if not more, of the items in my pantry that were so expired and things that we didn't use or eat. I am so pleased with the way it turned out. I probably was able to do this for around $150 worth of product, but even without the product, it's just so much more manageable and functional. I have this turntable in the back for backstock, so basically if any of this stuff gets opened, it moves over to the refrigerator. I have some of these clear containers for snacks. These are the glass containers with baking essentials, and I did write the expiration date below with tape. I ended up putting all of the oils and vinegars into that bin, and these large bins at the bottom are for breads and chips. This smaller Lazy Susan is for some of the sauces that we use more frequently, and once some of them are open, they'll also go in the refrigerator. And the top is for most of the cereals and pastas and anything extra that we had in the pantry. We used this bigger bin to store our trash bags and also some of the recycle bags and plastic bags. Another thing I wanted to point out is that for our pantry door, we had this amazing barn door installed. We have a friend who does custom barn doors. They're called Barn Doors by Bradbury. I'll link them below. And they installed this barn door for us a couple years ago. We have a small space in between our refrigerator and our pantry, so just having this sliding door made it look so much better and way more functional. We went with a chalkboard and a whitewash design so we could write our grocery list or anything that we needed to right on the pantry door. I wanted to show you a real life 1 month update. I have not gone in and reorganized anything. I just picked up the camera and started filming. You'll notice that a lot of my bins are real empty, meaning I don't even use a lot of the stuff in them. But the maintenance part of it becomes manageable because you don't know you need organizing until you see someone else do it. And hopefully that's why you're watching. I finally also decided to get labels. I got these labels off of Amazon and I got them in white to keep up with the white theme, but you'll see in a minute that I probably should have got them in black because they're hard to see. But once you have had a functional pantry like I have had for the last month, then once it starts getting unorganized, you realize how dysfunctional it starts becoming. and how much easier it is on this side of it. If it's always been dysfunctional, like it was for me before I organized it and I didn't even know it was, then you never know how much better it is on the other side. And that's what helps me to keep maintaining it.
Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you got tons of ideas, tips, motivation to tackle your own pantry or just make it more functional. Make sure you click that red subscribe button so you don't miss another video.
keep on holding my head high.